If I had to start a brand new Pokemon card business right here in 2026 with no online platform, no understanding of the market, no crazy in-depth understanding of Pokemon cards and sets, this is exactly how I would do it. In my last video, I talked about the mindset that you need before hopping into this journey. So this video is going to be episode 2 in this series. And today we're going to get practical because I'm going to tell you exactly how I would go about starting it, startup costs, the things I would do initially, some things to consider going in. So I'm pumped to hop into this one. But if this is your first time here, what's up guys? My name's TJ. I run a business called PokePaster TCG where a year and a half ago, I started selling Pokemon cards, and I had some cards laying around, listed them, sold them, and fell in love with it. And now I'm $330,000 into this whole selling adventure, and it's been a nice little lucrative side hustle for me and my family. And then also this, I've stumbled into this, creating content for you guys, helping you get your stores off the ground and doing a live stream where we talk business and open cards on Sunday evenings, and I love it. I love this business, this Pokemon card space. It's the best. So I'm pumped that you're here, and if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you're not. Those things really do help me and is a way that you can support what I'm doing here. But enough about that. Let's chat business, baby. So before we talk about budget and how much money I would recommend before you hop into this, we need to acknowledge that not everyone just has an unlimited amount of money that they can throw at a startup like this. Not everyone has a crazy amount of temporal capital, as I call it, of time that they can just spend sorting cards for hours and hours. And so if you're feeling a little behind the 8 ball because you're up against a couple of those constraints, you're exactly where you need to be. Most people start with both of those things as an uphill battle. You probably have a job right now, and whether you like it or you don't like it, it's something that consumes a lot of your time, and you likely don't just have $30,000 that you can start a Pokemon card side hustle with, because I'm venturing to say that you probably don't. And if you do, hey, you're gonna be able to hop right in really quick. But if you're not at that, the good news is you don't have to have either of those things. I started with very little starting capital, and I started and still am in a spot where I have a demanding schedule. I pastor at a church, which is really time intensive. I've got 3 children, I've got a wife, things are crazy, things are busy, and so you don't have to have an unlimited amount of resources before you get going. So if that's the excuse that's kind of lingering in the back of your head, I get it, but if I can do it, you can do it. Now I would say, in terms of starting capital, before I start throwing out numbers to you, you don't need to make this starting capital selling Pokemon cards. In fact, it's probably better for you to do a different kind of side hustle. If there's a time for you to put in some overtime at your current job to make a couple hundred extra bucks, that's great. If you have a holiday coming up and you know that you're going to get $100 from that grandma who always sends you $100 and you want to save that, that's great. Doing your initial startup capital with money from Pokemon cards might be a little difficult. A caveat with that, this video is not about sourcing inventory. That's going to be the next part of this series. But a caveat of that is, if you're in the Pokemon card space, which you're watching this video, I assume you are, you probably have some capital that you can start with, in that you have a collection. You probably have some cards that you're holding on to, and so that absolutely can be the startup of your business. If you have a couple $100, and I know some of you have thousands of dollars of cards that are part of your collection, if you are hopping into the business space, it would be worth considering liquidating or selling at least some of those to get yourself rolling, so that you have money to buy supplies, so that you have money to get going, so that you can figure out, hey, do I even enjoy this? And selling some of your collection is a great way to do that. But how much money exactly would I recommend you starting with? I mean, I would say if you have $200 to $500 where you can start picking up collections, or you have that much money in your own collection that you're looking to sell, that is definitely enough to get going. Because when you start out, you're not really going to know what it is exactly that you're looking for. You're going to get on Facebook and you're going to start roaming around Marketplace. You're going to start joining these Facebook groups, and you're going to just be excited, ready to go, and you're going to see people posting these collections, and you're going to start offering, and it's going to be all a learning experience off the rip. And so if you have a couple $100 to play with, or even like up to $500 to play with, that is definitely enough to get going. And in terms of buying supplies, that is more than enough, especially if you're going to sell in a place like TCG Player or eBay. the amount of supplies that you need to get going is not a ton. If you've got a printer at home and you've got the ability to buy some envelopes, some other stuff, I'll put my shipping video, which shows you kind of all of the materials that you need to get this going. I'll put that down below. But the startup costs of doing something like this is not crazy whatsoever. So just keep that in mind. A couple $100 up to $500. If you really want to go hog wild, like $1,000, you can absolutely get off to the races and really dive in to see if this is for you. And now it comes down to your first purchases. So this is going to be the first time that you find someone who has a collection that they're willing to sell, and you're getting ready to meet them. You're going to meet in a Target parking lot or in a gas station parking lot under the awning because it's raining outside. You're going to meet in some back alley that looks super sketchy. Wherever you end up meeting, probably not a back alley, right? Some people like to do it at like a courthouse or a police station because it gives extra level of security. That's never been a go-to spot for me, but wherever you end up meeting, you're going to buy this collection. You're going to be excited. And honestly, your first month of doing this, as you start to sell a little bit, you're learning. You're basically paying for tuition. And my guess is you'll probably break even or maybe even make a few bucks here and there, but you're not going to be raking in a tremendous amount of income where it's like, holy smokes, last month I made an extra $1,200 and I spent that $1,200 on something special for myself. Like, that's not how this is going to go. You are absolutely working for free tuition on how to buy cards, how to negotiate, how to list cards, how to sort cards, what cards sell, what cards sit, what a lightly played card is, what a moderately played card is, what sets are going to sell, all of that kind of stuff. You are learning. Because remember, we're going into this without a tremendous amount of knowledge. And so you are going to be learning so much as you pick up these collections. You're going to have to do so much research. You're likely going to start watching YouTube videos, which will help you. Like, there's all sorts of resources out there. My channel's got a bunch of videos that you guys can check out. So just initially, you are, like I said, working for tuition. You are breaking even and learning and learning and learning so that you can have some confidence, so that you can know exactly what kind of pickups are good, so that you can list those cards, sell those cards, make money, reinvest it into your business, and start getting off to the races. And so now you've got these cards that you bought, or you've got this part of your collection that you're willing to part with, and you've got to find out where you're going to sell. And this is a tough part too, because you've got to pick a platform. And what I would say initially is there are merits to all sorts of different platforms. I've done videos on that. I'll put that one down below too, of all the various, do you want to have your own website? Do you want to sell on Whatnot? Do you want to sell on TCG Player like I do? Do you want to sell on eBay? All of these places have merit. And I think even in that video down there, I mentioned it's good to have your toes dipped into all of this. And I still stand by that. I believe that that's true. However, starting off, just pick one. Are you going to sell on eBay? Are you going to sell on TCG Player? Are you going to build your own website? Do some digging, figure out which one works best for you, and then initially just pick one of those and learn it and become an expert in that thing. If you want to become an expert in eBay, become an expert in eBay. Figure out how to do all the listings with the right tags, I don't sell a ton on eBay, so I can't help you a ton there. But there's so much that you can learn about that, where if you're doing that while learning TCG Player, while building your own website, it's going to bog you down. Now, eventually, you can branch out and have multiple platforms going and see if there's something that's maybe a better fit. But initially, just pick one. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Pick the website, learn their processes, learn their policies, their terms of service, all of that. Figure out how to get your process down. This is the cool part of figuring out, how do I ship out cards on this platform? What kind of turnaround time do I have from the time someone orders a card to the time I get it in the mail? What does adding tracking look like? When do I want to add tracking? All of those things. How do I make sure my listings are accurate? How do I make sure that my conditioning is accurate? You will figure out in these first couple of months. Like I said, you're working at this point to learn, to get an education. You'll figure out how the ins and outs of these things work, and you'll build up consistency to where it feels second nature. So for instance, in an evening after I get done with work stuff and family stuff, spend some time with my wife, and I come down here and I pull up my TCG Player account and I've got 35 orders. It's not stressful, right? Like, I've got my systems down. I know how to send out cards to people. It's not hard. I'll turn on a YouTube video, or I'll listen to some music, and I'll just vibe and pack orders. Or sometime I'll hop in Discord and chat with the boys or whatever, and I'll just do orders. It's a blast. But it wasn't like that initially. Initially, I was sweating. I was nervous. I didn't know exactly what I was doing, because it takes you some time to learn. So pick a platform, learn it, become an expert in that platform. And now that you got your platform down and you're starting to learn things, here's where you can really make some headway, is you just have to get a boring rhythm going. I talk about this all the time, but the best sellers, the best businesses aren't sexy, they're not flashy, they're just boringly consistent. And so figure out what your rhythm is going to be. A couple nights a week, do you sort cards and list cards? What is your turnaround time? Maybe every other day you ship out orders so that you can make sure you can get tracking to those people, and just every other day. So I did orders last night. I don't have to ship out orders tonight. I'll do orders tomorrow. So get your rhythm. Or maybe it's every third day. Whatever works for you and your customers. You start getting feedback from people. You have to figure it all out. But try to not deviate a ton. Try to create something that is repeatable, that is consistent, because at this point you are looking for consistency. And again, you don't have to be crazy flashy. You don't have to do anything that nobody's done before. You just have to continue showing up, continue doing your thing, continue getting cards to people, continue buying cards, sorting cards, listing cards, selling cards. It's not rocket science, but it does work, and you will make money. Then one last plug I do want to do as you get going. What are some of my regrets? Something that I wish I would have done? I didn't start making content and talking into a camera like I am right now and giving people a peek behind the curtain and a show of what I'm doing and learning from my mistakes. I didn't start doing that until I was like 9 months, over $100 and some thousand of sales into my business. I wish I would have. I wish I would have documented things from the get-go. I wish I would have started making content right away, because think of how easy it is to find people who can relate to you when you're starting out and you know nothing. And so if you truly are wanting to build something, and maybe I'm talking to you right now if you're not just trying to like recoup some of your collection costs or build a side hustle, but if you truly are trying to build something significant out of this, maybe you're trying to build even something more significant than me and you want to make this your career. That's not me. But if you want to make this your career, I would strongly advise you to start making content and documenting your journey, because people eat that stuff up. And at some point, you are going to have to build a brand if you really, really want to be a long-term career style seller online. You have to build a brand. Another video, another time, but that's just like a soft plug for you. If you really are about it, you should be making content for sure. So that's it for part 2 of this video. That's how I would go about starting things right here in 2026 if I had to go over and do it all again. And so if you guys haven't seen part 1, I'll have that linked down below. And then in part 3, we're going to talk about getting practical with sourcing the inventory. Where am I going to buy from? How am I going to get these cards? Do I really have to sell my collection? All of that. And so if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on this, the rest of this guide, the rest of these videos that I'm going to be putting together, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And again, I love helping you guys. I feel like I am uniquely suited to be able to help some of you get this off the ground and have the courage to hop into this to see if it's something that's for you. And who knows, maybe you can build something significant for you and your family like I've been able to. So I sure hope so. Anyways, I say this at the end of all of my videos, but I believe that Jesus loves you, that he's got an incredible plan for your life. I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.